My name is Claire, and for most of my adult life, I've lived behind a polished smile. Outsiders thought my life was idyllic. A lovely house in the suburbs, a charming older husband named Richard, and a respectable role as a stepmother to his grown son Ethan. But behind closed doors, the air was thick with unspoken resentments, unmet needs, and a loneliness that clung to me like a second skin. Richard, successful in business but cold at home, was a man of routine and distance. Our marriage had become quiet. Not the comforting kind, but the sort that makes you feel like a ghost in your own life. He had stopped touching me years ago. He was polite, but the kind of polite you offer to strangers. And then there was Ethan. Ethan was 24 now, tall, calm, quietly intelligent, and nothing like his father. When I married Richard, Ethan was 17, moody and withdrawn. Over the years, we shared occasional laughs, passing conversations, but nothing more. That changed last year. It started with movie nights when Richard was away. Casual, safe, but each night felt longer. Each glance lingered. Something was shifting between us, though neither of us dared to name it. It was a rainy Friday evening. Richard was out of town again. Ethan had cooked dinner. We shared a bottle of wine. Then another. The living room was warm and our conversation turned personal. He told me about his dreams, his doubts. I told him things I had never admitted to anyone, how isolated I felt, how invisible I'd become. There was a long silence after I confessed that. He looked at me for a moment too long. I remember saying, "Maybe I shouldn't have said that." He whispered, "I'm glad you did. We didn't plan to kiss. But we did." So, hesitant, electric. Then came the touch. My hand on his chest, his fingers in my hair. Every move, every breath felt like we were fighting gravity and guilt. And then, the rest. The moment we crossed the line we could never uncross. I woke up alone. The room was cold, silent. The air carried the scent of wine and regret. Ethan had left before dawn. No note. No call. Nothing. When Richard returned that night, I pretended nothing had changed. I cooked dinner. I asked about his trip. But I couldn't look him in the eye. Ethan avoided me completely. Days turned to weeks. Every time I passed his room, my heart beat faster. We were both pretending the night didn't happen. And then I missed my period. I took 3 tests just to be sure. All positive. Panic is too gentle a word for what I felt. I considered every possibility. Could I lie and say it was Richard's? Could I terminate and forget? But something in me stopped. The idea of ending the life forming inside me, even under such messy, shameful circumstances, felt like the cruelest betrayal of all. I told no one. I started hiding my nausea, wearing looser clothes. Ethan stayed away. Richard noticed nothing. Until one morning, Richard caught me vomiting in the upstairs bathroom. He looked at me with suspicion. "Are you okay?" "Stomach bug," I mumbled. But I knew it wouldn't hold. Ethan finally came to me one evening while Richard was out. He looked thinner, older somehow. "We need to talk," he said. I nodded, tears already in my eyes. I told him everything. That I was pregnant. That it was his. That I didn't know what to do. He sat down, stunned. Silent. After a long pause, he said, "I thought you hated me. I thought it meant nothing to you." "It meant too much," I whispered. We didn't embrace. We didn't cry together. We just sat, broken by the truth. I wish I could say I told him myself. But it was Ethan. He told his father everything. Out of guilt or maybe courage. Richard didn't scream. He didn't hit anyone. He just walked into the kitchen where I stood, pale as paper, and asked, "Is it true?" I couldn't speak. I nodded. He packed a bag that night and left the house. Not a word since. The baby came quietly in spring. A girl. With Ethan's green eyes and my mouth. Ethan didn't stay. He visits. He helps. But we are not together. We are bound by a moment we can never undo and a child who will one day ask questions I don't yet know how to answer. Some betrayals leave scars too deep for repair. Some truths are too heavy for forgiveness. But in the wreckage, sometimes life begins. This is not a love story. This is a story about consequences, about guilt, and about the silent, complicated forms of love that grow in the shadows. If this story moved you, shocked you, or made you reflect, please like, comment, and subscribe for more raw, real stories. What would you have done? Tell us below.